Eli Matthews lived on the quiet plains of Solar 9, a distant colony far from Earth. He was a Humyn farmer, tending to his crops every day under the twin suns that warmed the red and golden fields. Life had always been simple for him. Wake up early, water the plants, care for the small animals he raised, and then rest under the stars in the evening. But Ellie's peaceful life was about to change in a way he could never have imagined. It started on a warm, clear morning. Eli had just finished mending a broken fence around his farm when he noticed something strange. Near the far end of the barn, a shadow moved strangely across the field. He squinted, adjusting to the bright sunlight, and saw something that made his heart skip a beat. There, hiding behind a stack of hay bales, was a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. The creature was enormous, with scales that shimmered in colors he could hardly name. Some reflected gold, others silver, and a few even seemed to glow faintly like soft moonlight. Its wings, folded tightly against its body, were wide and powerful, though they seemed weak and worn. Most striking were its eyes, deep, intelligent, and filled with pain. They met Ellie's gaze, and he felt a strange pull, as if the creature were silently asking for help. For a long moment, Eli just stared. He had read stories about aliens and dragons, even seen old holo movies from Earth. But nothing had prepared him for this. The creature did not roar. It did not attack. It just looked at him with cautious hope. Ellie's heart softened. He had always been kind to animals, whether on Earth or in the colony. And he had learned that kindness often spoke louder than words. "Hey there," Eli said softly, stepping slowly toward the creature. "You're hurt, aren't you?" The creature flinched at first but didn't move away. Its scales looked scratched and slightly torn, as if it had fallen or been in a fight. Eli could see dried marks along its wings and limbs, and he noticed a faint, flickering symbol on its armor, a mark that hinted it was not just a random creature, but a soldier. Ellie's mind raced. An alien soldier? Here, on my farm? He swallowed hard, trying not to panic. The colony council had warned everyone about alien intruders. They were dangerous. But looking at the creature, he felt no threat, only fear and exhaustion. He took a careful step closer and held out a bowl of water from his bucket. The creature hesitated, sniffed the air, and then slowly lowered its head to drink. Ellie's heart leapt. That small gesture told him it trusted him. At least a little. Over the next hour, Eli worked quietly, bringing scraps of food from his kitchen, fresh vegetables, a bit of protein he kept from his livestock, and water. The creature ate slowly, clearly weak, but it ate. Its scales glinted in the sunlight as it moved, and Eli could see that its wounds, while not fatal, were serious. By late afternoon, Eli had done what he could for the moment. He cleared a small space in the barn and set up hay and blankets so the creature could rest. The alien, surprisingly, seemed to understand. It lowered its massive head in gratitude, letting Eli touch its scales lightly. The texture was smooth but strong, like polished stone, and Eli felt a strange warmth from it, almost like a heartbeat. Eli sat on a stool, watching the creature as it rested. "You're safe here," he whispered. "I won't let anyone hurt you." The creature blinked slowly, a gesture Eli decided was its way of saying thanks. And then, surprisingly, it spoke not in words he knew, but in soft, guttural sounds that somehow made sense. Eli tilted his head. He didn't understand the words, but the emotion was clear. The creature was afraid, in pain, and yet grateful. That night, the twin suns set, and Eli lit a small lamp in the barn. He couldn't sleep, not with the creature there, quietly breathing and occasionally shifting its wings. Every sound in the barn was amplified: the soft rustling of hay, the creak of the wooden beams, the gentle sigh of wind through the fields. Eli felt both excitement and fear. He was harboring an alien. That was dangerous. And yet, he felt a deep responsibility to help it. As the hours passed, Eli tried to communicate in simple ways. He drew pictures in the dirt, showing food, safety, and sleep. The creature watched carefully and even mimicked a few gestures, tilting its head or moving a claw toward an image. It was learning, and so was Eli. He realized that intelligence was not limited to humans. This creature, though alien in every way, understood kindness, trust, and care. By the time the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Eli was exhausted but determined. He knew he couldn't just leave the creature there if it got stronger or someone found it. He needed a plan. And yet, he also felt something he hadn't expected, a sense of wonder. Humans were small, but perhaps there was more to them than the galaxy expected. Perhaps kindness something simple. Humyn could change the course of events far beyond Solar 9. The creature, now resting more comfortably, let out a soft hum, a sound that Eli decided was its way of showing peace. For the first time, the farm felt different. It wasn't just a human's home anymore. It was a sanctuary, a place where two very different beings could share trust. Even in a universe that seemed too big for such moments, Eli stepped outside, looking at the endless plains. The wind carried a faint scent of metal and ozone, and for a moment, he imagined the creature's fleet far out in space, searching for it. The thought made him shiver, but also fill with hope. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing. He had made a friend, and he had made a choice. That choice would change everything. And somewhere in the distance, hidden by the dawn light, faint shadows moved across the horizon. Eli didn't notice them yet, but the galaxy had already taken note of the human who dared to feed a hurt alien soldier. The sun had just disappeared behind the jagged mountains on Solar 9, leaving the sky painted in shades of deep orange and purple. Eli Matthews, exhausted but determined, still sat in the barn beside the alien dragon soldier. The creature's breathing was steady now, and its wings, though still weak, were folding more naturally. The soft glow of the twin moons outside lit the barn, giving the scene a calm, almost magical feeling. Eli had been thinking about the day's events over and over. Feeding and caring for the creature had felt right, but he couldn't ignore the dangers. The Colony Council had strict rules. Any alien intrusion was to be reported immediately. Harboring a wounded alien could have caused serious trouble. Yet, something deep inside him had told him to help. And now, watching the creature rest, he understood why. "Sleep well," Eli whispered softly, placing a hand on the soft hay near the creature. "Tomorrow, we'll figure out what to do." The creature stirred slightly and lifted its massive head, eyes reflecting the moonlight. Though it didn't speak words Eli could understand, he sensed gratitude and trust in its gaze. He had never felt such a strong connection with any animal or any being for that matter. It was as if the dragon understood him, just as he understood it. Night in the plains of Solar 9 was quiet, but not silent. The wind carried the distant calls of alien birds, strange metallic echoes from the faraway mining stations, and the soft hum of Ellie's own small machines in the barn. As he sat there, he began to notice subtle movements from the dragon, tiny shifts of the wings, gentle tail swishes, and occasional glances toward the barn door. It was aware of its surroundings, alert even while weak. Eli decided to try something new. He grabbed a notepad and pencil from his small table and began drawing simple symbols. A bowl of food, a bed of hay, and a human hand extended in friendship. He showed the pictures to the creature, pointing to each and speaking softly, "Food. Rest safe." The dragon watched carefully, tilting its head, then lifted a claw and pointed toward the food. Eli laughed softly. "Yes, I know. Hungry first, rest later." Over the next hour, Eli experimented with more gestures and simple symbols. He drew the sun, the moon, and even a rough sketch of a small spaceship, hoping to see if the creature recognized it. To his amazement, the dragon's eyes widened slightly when it saw the ship, and it hummed a soft, musical sound. Eli wasn't sure what it meant, but it felt like a greeting or recognition. "You've been far from home, haven't you?" Eli said quietly, almost to himself. The dragon lowered its head and leaned slightly against the wall of the barn. Though it could not speak human words, the gesture made Eli feel like it understood completely. Hours passed, and the night deepened. Eli finally decided to rest a little on a small cot near the barn door. He didn't fully trust himself to sleep too deeply, not with an alien of such size and intelligence in his barn. The creature, sensing his rest, lay down on the hay, curling its long tail around itself. Despite its size, it seemed almost gentle, almost like a large domestic animal that had chosen to stay near its caretaker. Suddenly, a flicker of light outside caught Ellie's attention. He sat up, squinting through the open barn door. On the horizon, far away but moving quickly, were several glowing shapes. They hovered in the sky, distant yet clearly visible. Ellie's heart began to race. Could they be scouts? Was the dragon's fleet nearby, or was it something else entirely? The dragon noticed the lights too. Its head lifted slowly, nostrils flaring, eyes narrowing with curiosity and alertness. Eli realized that whatever these lights were, they were not threatening. Yet they were paying attention. He gently reached out, placing his hand on the dragon's foreleg. Easy, we'll see what they want. Don't worry. As minutes passed, the lights grew slightly brighter, hovering above the plains. Eli could feel a strange hum in the air, almost like a vibration through the ground. The dragon rose carefully, testing its wings, and emitted a soft sound of greeting, or perhaps a warning. Eli followed its gaze, noticing shapes that were moving in patterns across the horizon. These were not natural phenomena, he realized. These were ships, alien ships. Fear and excitement mixed in Ellie's chest. Ships from your side, or, he muttered, unsure, but the dragon gave a small, confident hum. It seemed to recognize the ships and even attempted a small gesture with its wings, as if signaling to them. Eli stared in awe. Somehow, this creature could communicate across vast distances, even without words. For the next few hours, Eli watched the skies with the dragon by his side. The ships moved with precision, scanning the plains carefully. Eli noticed that they weren't hostile, they were methodical, almost respectful in their observation. The dragon occasionally made small gestures, like pointing its wings or curling its tail, and the ships seemed to respond. Lights flickering in acknowledgement. Eli realized something important. These aliens were advanced, far beyond human technology, but they respected certain things: intelligence, gestures, and perhaps courage. And the dragon, despite being wounded, was still part of a larger community that valued trust. By the time the first light of dawn painted the plains, the ships had disappeared beyond the horizon. Eli exhaled, a mix of relief and wonder. Well, that was unexpected, he muttered. The dragon lay down again, tired but calm. Eli felt a growing sense of partnership between them. He was beginning to understand that humans had something unique to offer, even to beings from faraway stars. Eli spent the morning checking the dragon's wounds again, cleaning minor scratches and adjusting the hay bedding. He also realized he needed to think about the future. These ships might return, and if they did, Eli would need to communicate clearly. He wasn't just a farmer anymore. He was a guardian, a friend to an alien being, and perhaps the first point of contact for the fleet. As the day went on, Eli noticed the dragon observing his work closely. It followed his movements, learning silently. When he repaired a broken fence, the dragon moved its claws carefully, mimicking the motion without actually breaking anything. When he planted seeds, the dragon watched intently, almost as if it were studying the human way of life. Eli couldn't help but smile. "You're learning fast," he said, scratching behind one of its ears. The dragon's hum was almost like laughter. By late afternoon, Eli decided to take a short walk around the farm with the dragon. He wanted to show it the fields, the livestock, and the small pond where he collected water. The dragon moved carefully, avoiding damage to the crops, and Eli felt a strange pride. It was remarkable this creature, strong and alien, was learning not just to survive but to respect human life and labor. During their walk, Eli imagined the galaxy beyond Solar 9. There were countless stars, planets, and civilizations, many of which humans would never see. And yet, he realized that humans had a unique trait: empathy. That simple ability to understand and care, even for beings from other worlds, might be more powerful than any technology. As dusk approached, Eli led the dragon back to the barn. He set out fresh food and water, and the creature ate gratefully. Eli watched as it curled up on the hay again, finally closing its eyes. He whispered softly, "Tomorrow will be a new day. We'll face it together." The night was calm, but Eli could still feel the faint presence of those ships in the distance. He didn't know if they would return soon or later, or if they were friend or foe. But one thing was certain. He had taken a step into a much larger universe, and he was ready to meet it, side by side with his dragon companion, for the first time. Eli felt that his life on Solar 9 wasn't just about farming anymore. It was about trust, courage, and the small but meaningful choices humans could make in a galaxy full of mysteries. And as he drifted into a light sleep beside the alien soldier, he knew that whatever came next, he would face it with kindness and ingenuity because that was the way of humans. And perhaps that was what made them extraordinary. The next morning, Eli Matthews woke to a strange stillness. The twin suns rose slowly over the plains of Solar 9, painting the red soil and golden crops in a warm light. Birds sang softly, and the wind whispered through the tall grasses, but something was different. The air carried a faint hum, like the soft vibration of machinery far away, and Eli felt a twinge of unease. He stepped outside the barn, squinting against the light, and froze. On the horizon, enormous shapes hovered just above the plains. At first, they looked like clouds, distant and harmless, but as the sun rose higher, Eli saw their true form. They were ships, dozens of them, enormous and sleek, with smooth silver surfaces that reflected the sunlight. They moved with precision, forming geometric patterns in the sky, hovering silently. Scanning the ground, Ellie's heart pounded. He had never seen technology like this. His mind raced with questions. Were these the dragon's allies? Or enemies? Would they attack? He glanced at the dragon, which had risen from the hay, wings trembling slightly from the effort. The creature's eyes, wide and alert, were fixed on the approaching fleet. The dragon made a soft, musical hum, a sound Eli had come to understand as a greeting or communication. Its tail curled, and it lifted a wing, pointing toward the sky. Eli watched in awe as the ships responded. Small pulses of light flickered across their surfaces, moving in rhythm. Almost like the ships were acknowledging the dragon's presence, Eli took a deep breath. They know you, he whispered. They know you, don't they? The dragon tilted its head, then stepped closer to Eli, nudging him gently. It was as if it wanted to reassure him. Eli felt a surge of courage. Whatever these ships intended, he would face it. He was no longer just a farmer, he was a friend to this alien soldier, and that mattered. The ships descended slowly, stopping just above the farm. They did not attack, did not fire any beams or weapons. Instead, they hovered gracefully, scanning the fields, the barn, and the surrounding land. Eli noticed strange symbols on the ships, glowing softly like patterns of light. They were beautiful, almost musical in their rhythm. He realized these were not ordinary vehicles, they were intelligent, capable of communication in ways humans were just beginning to understand. Suddenly, a beam of soft light projected from the largest ship, forming a holographic shape in the air. Ellie's eyes widened as he saw it, a figure, tall and elegant, shimmering with energy. The dragon stepped forward, and the figure's glowing eyes seemed to recognize it immediately. Eli understood. This was the commander of the fleet. The hologram spoke, not in words Eli could hear, but in images and symbols that floated in the air. To his astonishment, the dragon reacted instantly, making gestures and producing the musical hums that Eli had learned to interpret. Slowly, Eli realized that he was witnessing a conversation and interstellar dialogue without words, yet perfectly understood by the participants. Ellie's fear began to fade, replaced by awe. These beings were not hostile. They were communicating, acknowledging, and perhaps even seeking help. The dragon turned toward Eli and nudged him forward gently. It was as if the creature wanted him to be part of this moment, to witness it, to learn from it. With a mixture of curiosity and courage, Eli stepped closer to the beam of light. The holographic figure seemed to expand, creating a visual map of the galaxy, highlighting points of light and pulsating stars. Eli could see the dragon's home planet among them, distant and beautiful, a small blue and green gem surrounded by golden rings of energy. The fleet had come from there. They were searching for the dragon, their soldier, and now they had found it. The dragon's hums grew stronger, and the ships responded with synchronized flashes of light. Eli watched, fascinated, as patterns emerged in the sky, shapes, sequences, and movements that felt almost like a dance. He realized that the dragon was giving the fleet information about its journey, its injuries, and perhaps even about Eli himself. The ships paused, then shifted slightly, hovering closer to the barn, as if to study him too. Eli felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. Here he was, a simple human farmer, being observed by an advanced alien fleet. And yet, the presence of the dragon made him feel safe. Somehow, the alien sensed that he meant no harm. Somehow, his kindness mattered. The holographic figure extended a shimmering appendage toward the ground. Forming a small projection near Eli, symbols appeared, showing tools, devices, and strange energy sources. The dragon stepped forward and touched them with a claw. And Eli understood the purpose. The fleet needed help, and humans creative, resourceful, and adaptable could offer something no machine could replicate. Eli felt his heart race. "You want me to help?" he whispered, not entirely sure if he understood correctly. The dragon nudged him gently, affirming it. The fleet responded with a soft wave of light, almost like an invitation, for the rest of the day. Eli worked beside the dragon, showing small ways to assist. He moved equipment, adjusted simple mechanisms, and experimented with tools the fleet projected as holograms. The dragon guided him patiently, correcting his movements with gentle nudges or musical hums. Eli learned quickly, realizing that humans had a special skill, the ability to adapt, invent, and improvise. The alien technology was advanced. Yes, but Ellie's creativity added something unique that even the fleet recognized. As evening fell, the ships hovered silently above, observing, listening, and learning. Eli could see their lights flicker in patterns that mirrored his own heartbeat and movements. It was as if the fleet was studying human behavior not just to evaluate him, but to understand the potential of humanity itself. The dragon's hums and gestures continued, forming a bridge between worlds, a conversation of trust, care, and intelligence. Eli looked out over his farm, feeling a new sense of purpose. His life had changed forever. He was no longer just a farmer. He was a link between Earth humans and a galaxy full of possibilities. He felt excitement, courage, and responsibility all at once. And he knew that whatever came next, he would face it with kindness, creativity, and the spirit that made humans special. That night, the twin moons rose, casting their pale light over the plains. The dragon settled near Eli, wings folded and eyes softly glowing. The fleet remained above, silent yet present, as if keeping watch. Eli lay down on the cot, tired but exhilarated. For the first time, he felt truly connected not just to the dragon, but to something much larger than himself. As he drifted into sleep, Eli thought about the future. He knew challenges would come: communication with the fleet, understanding their needs, and perhaps even facing dangers from parts of the galaxy he had never imagined. But he also knew that humans had something unique, the ability to care, to think, and to act with courage. The fleet had recognized that, and the dragon had trusted him. That was enough. The morning would bring new opportunities, new lessons, and perhaps even new adventures. But for now, under the soft glow of Solar 9's moons, Eli felt at peace. He had faced the unknown, extended a hand of friendship, and been accepted not for his strength, but for his heart. And in the quiet hum of alien ships above, he sensed that humanity's story in the galaxy was just beginning. The morning sun rose slowly over Ellie's farm, casting long golden shadows across the fields. The twin suns of Solar 9 bathed the plains in warm light, and the alien dragon soldier stirred from its resting place, stretching its wings carefully. Eli had slept little, excitement and curiosity keeping him awake most of the night. Today was different. Today, he was not just a farmer, he was an ally, a guide, and perhaps a teacher to a fleet of advanced beings. The alien ships hovered silently above the farm, their polished surfaces reflecting sunlight in dazzling patterns. Eli approached the barn, where the dragon waited, its eyes gleaming with intelligence and a hint of urgency. It nudged him toward the holographic projection that had appeared the night before, shimmering in the open space between the barn and the fields. The projection displayed a series of tools and devices, some small and intricate, others massive and unfamiliar. Eli studied them carefully. They need help. He whispered to the dragon, glancing at the ships. They're asking for our ideas, our way of thinking. The dragon hummed in agreement. Its wings fluttered slightly, sending a soft gust of wind across the barn. Eli had begun to understand that these hums were more than sound, they were communication, emotion, and guidance all at once. He stepped closer to the projection, examining the strange devices. They were elegant, smooth, and complex, but Eli noticed patterns that reminded him of machines back on Earth: levers, gears, and simple mechanical principles. He realized that although the technology was far advanced, the logic behind it was not entirely different from what humans had used for centuries. Eli began experimenting. He touched a small holographic lever, and the device responded, rotating and forming new shapes. The dragon watched closely, its eyes following every movement. Eli realized he could manipulate these devices not with strength, but with creativity, intuition, and problem-solving skills humans had honed over generations. Hours passed as Eli tinkered, testing different ideas and combinations. At first, he worried he might fail or even damage the alien technology, but the dragon was patient, guiding him with gentle nudges and hums, encouraging him to keep trying. Slowly, Eli began to see results. Devices stabilized, holographic mechanisms moved smoothly, and the fleet's lights flickered in rhythm, signaling approval. "You're good at this," the dragon said softly in its musical hum. Eli laughed. "I'm just thinking differently," he replied. By midday, Eli had discovered ways to make the fleet's energy flow more efficient, using simple adjustments, reconfiguring small components, redirecting light pulses, and using materials. From his farm, he managed to help the ships operate with smoother motion. The fleet responded instantly, sending synchronized flashes of light that felt almost like applause. Eli felt a warm glow of pride. Humans, it seemed, had something unique to offer, ingenuity combined with empathy, creativity paired with care. But it wasn't just about machines. The dragon guided him to show the ships how humans could solve unexpected problems. When one device faltered, Eli used simple tools from his barn: a wheel, a rope, and a pulley system to stabilize it. The fleet paused, then adjusted in response. It was as if the aliens were learning from him, recognizing that humans could improvise in ways machines alone could not. As the afternoon stretched on, Eli explored more of the holographic controls. He realized the ships were designed to respond to visual and emotional cues, not just commands. If the dragon made a gesture, or if Eli approached with calm confidence, the devices reacted more smoothly. The synergy between human intuition and alien technology was remarkable. It was proof that cooperation between species could achieve results far beyond what either could do alone. At one point, the dragon and Eli worked together to repair a minor energy imbalance. In the fleet's systems, Eli used a combination of simple mechanical principles and logical reasoning to reroute the energy, while the dragon provided guidance through hums and gestures. Slowly, the flickering lights on the ship stabilized, glowing steadily in appreciation. Eli realized that his actions had not only repaired the fleet, but also demonstrated a human quality. The aliens seemed to value deeply thoughtful problem-solving under pressure. By evening, the atmosphere over the farm had transformed. What had started as a tense first contact had become an interactive partnership. The fleet hovered above, the dragon resting nearby, and Eli felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced the unknown and discovered that humans had a role in this vast galaxy not as conquerors, but as collaborators, thinkers, and creators. The dragon nudged Eli toward a projection that showed his farm in intricate detail. The fleet had recorded his movements, his methods, and even his patterns of care for the dragon. Eli realized with a thrill that they were learning from him, recognizing the value of human adaptability and empathy. The dragon hummed softly, and Eli understood the meaning. You are human, and that matters. Night fell, and the twin moons bathed the farm in silver light. Eli set out fresh water for the dragon and checked the crops, now aware that the alien Fleet was observing not just his work with technology, but his attention to life, care, and routine. Every action mattered, and humans had a subtle power, the ability to care deeply, think creatively, and act with intention. As he lay down to rest, Eli thought about the day's events. The fleet had not demanded anything. They had asked for guidance, for insight, for human ingenuity. And Eli had provided it, not through force or weapons, but through thought, observation, and collaboration. Humans, he realized, were not weak or insignificant. They were valuable in ways even the most advanced aliens could recognize. The dragon, curled up beside him, wings folding protectively around its body. Eli reached out, resting his hand on the creature's scales. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "we'll learn even more. Together." The dragon hummed softly in response, a sound that conveyed trust, pride, and perhaps even joy. Ellie's eyes drifted closed, but sleep did not come immediately. He thought about the galaxy, the fleet, and the vast possibilities that awaited. Perhaps humans could play a role far beyond what anyone had imagined, sharing knowledge, teaching cooperation, and showing that even a simple farmer could make a difference on a cosmic scale. The quiet hum of the fleet above was soothing now, a reminder that he was not alone. The alien ships glowed softly, responding to the dragon's presence and to Ellie's subtle movements. For the first time, he understood that true strength did not always lie in power or weapons. It lay in creativity, empathy, and the courage to extend a hand of help when it was needed most. And in that moment, Eli felt a profound connection not just to the dragon or the fleet, or even the farm, but to a universe full of possibilities. The future was uncertain, yes, but it was bright. Humans had a role to play, and Eli Matthews, a simple farmer from Solar 9, was at the heart of it. As the night deepened, Eli finally rested. The dragon's warm presence beside him, the gentle glow of the fleet above, and the soft rustle of crops in the wind were reminders that trust and cooperation could bridge worlds. And when morning came, there would be more to learn, more to teach, and more ways for humans to show that their ingenuity and care mattered even across the stars. Eli dreamed of flying ships, distant planets, and the countless challenges and wonders the galaxy held. But he also dreamed of home, of the simple farm where it all began, and of the dragon who had changed everything with nothing more than a look of trust and gratitude. The adventure was far from over, and tomorrow would bring new lessons, new discoveries, and new opportunities to prove that humans, though small in size, were extraordinary in spirit. The twin suns of Solar 9 rose slowly over Eli Matthews' farm, casting a warm, golden light across the plains. Eli stretched, feeling the weight of the past days pressing gently on his shoulders, not as exhaustion, but as a sense of accomplishment. His life had changed in ways he could never have imagined. Just a few days ago, he had been a simple human farmer, tending his crops and caring for his small animals. Now, he was at the center of a remarkable connection with an alien dragon soldier and a fleet of advanced beings. Eli stepped outside the barn, where the dragon had already risen, and was pacing gently near the holographic projections of the fleet. Its scales shimmered in the sunlight, reflecting colors Eli had never named. The dragon looked at him and let out a soft hum, a sound he had come to understand as encouragement and reassurance. "The fleet is waiting," Eli said quietly, brushing soil from his hands. "Today, they'll see what humans can do, and maybe they'll understand us." The dragon tilted its head, ears twitching slightly. Eli had learned over these days that the dragon understood not just words, but intentions, feelings, and ideas. Above, the alien ships hovered silently, their polished surfaces reflecting sunlight. Eli felt no fear now, only wonder and excitement. The fleet had observed him, learned from him, and even relied on his ingenuity. But today was different. Today, the fleet would acknowledge humans, and Eli would see how small actions could make a big difference across the galaxy. A gentle beam of light descended from the largest ship, forming a holographic figure in the air. It shimmered with elegance, its presence commanding but not intimidating. The dragon stepped forward immediately, responding with hums and gestures. Eli watched as the hologram seemed to examine the farm, the barn, and him, then shifted to show the dragon's home planet and its people. Eli understood the meaning almost instantly. The fleet was recognizing the dragon's contribution and, by extension, his own. Humans had shown creativity, care, and intelligence, the qualities that even the most advanced technology could not replicate. "You did this," Eli whispered to the dragon. The creature lowered its head slightly, nudging Eli gently with its nose. "We did this," it hummed back. Eli smiled, feeling pride swell in his chest. The holographic figure extended a shimmering appendage toward Eli. Symbols appeared, glowing softly, a combination of energy patterns, star maps, and abstract shapes. Eli studied them carefully, realizing the fleet was offering knowledge, recognition, and a bridge for future collaboration. He reached out, touching one of the symbols, and felt a rush of understanding. These were plans, designs, and information that humans could learn from and, in return, add their own ideas too. Eli glanced at the dragon, whose eyes reflected the same awe and excitement he felt. "They want to work with us," he said. "Not just you, me. Humans." The dragon hummed in agreement, wings fluttering slightly. The day was spent in activity, but none of it felt like work. Eli showed the fleet small human inventions, simple tools, clever ways to manage energy, methods to repair machinery without complex technology. The fleet responded instantly, adjusting their systems and incorporating human ideas into their operations. Lights flickered, shapes shifted, and soft harmonic tones filled the air, language of recognition and appreciation. By midday, Eli realized something remarkable. He had begun to understand the fleet's patterns and rhythms, and the fleet, in turn, seemed to understand him. It was a mutual learning, a silent conversation of creativity and thought. The dragon guided him gently, ensuring that every action was meaningful, that every idea had impact. Eli realized that the bond between human and dragon, human and alien fleet, was more than cooperation, it was respect. In the late afternoon, Eli led the dragon to the highest hill on the farm. From there, the fleet could be seen hovering above the plains, their lights shimmering like stars come to earth. Eli felt a sense of wonder that words could not capture. The dragon, sensing his thoughts, leaned against him lightly. Together, they watched as the fleet moved gracefully, patterns shifting like a cosmic dance, acknowledging the human who had dared to help. Eli thought of the colony council, of the warnings about alien intruders. They had never imagined that humans could interact with extraterrestrial beings in such a way. But here he was, a farmer, recognized for courage, creativity, and kindness. It was proof that humans were not limited by their size, by their simple technology, or by their quiet lives. Humans had a spark, a way of thinking, and a heart that could bridge worlds. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in deep reds and purples, Eli returned to the barn. The dragon followed, its wings folding softly against its body. The fleet hovered a little closer, almost like they wanted to be part of the farm, to share the space where trust and ingenuity had blossomed. Eli arranged fresh water and food for the dragon, and for the first time, he felt truly connected not just to the creature, but to the universe around him. A soft hum rose from the fleet, forming shapes and patterns in the air. Eli realized with a thrill that this was a gesture of honor. They were not just acknowledging the dragon, they were honoring humanity. Eli felt warmth in his chest. The galaxy had noticed humans. His small actions, his choice to help a wounded alien soldier, had made a difference far beyond what he could have imagined. That night, the twin moons rose, bathing the farm in silver light. Eli sat beside the dragon, looking up at the ships hovering silently above. The hum of the fleet was comforting now, almost like a lullaby of the stars. He thought of the future, the possibilities, the adventures, the connections humans could make, and he knew that he would face them with courage, creativity, and care, just as he had done from the very first day the dragon appeared on his farm. "You did this," Eli whispered again to the dragon. We showed them who we are. Humans. The dragon hummed softly, almost like a laugh, and leaned against him. Eli felt pride not as a boast, but as a quiet certainty. Humans were extraordinary in their own way, and even a small farmer could shape the story of the galaxy. The night deepened, and Eli lay down on his cot, the dragon curling beside him. The fleet remained above, a silent, glowing presence. And though sleep finally came, Ellie's mind wandered to the stars, imagining the countless worlds, the new ideas, and the friendships that awaited. He knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had a role to play, and Eli Matthews had helped open the door. The following morning, the fleet lifted slightly above the plains, forming a majestic formation that glittered in the sunlight. Eli watched in awe, realizing they were saying goodbye for now. They would return, perhaps with knowledge, perhaps with messages, but most importantly, with respect. The dragon hummed a farewell, wings flicking in patterns of light that the ships responded to. Eli felt a deep sense of connection, a sense that humanity was seen, valued, and appreciated in a galaxy full of wonders. He returned to his daily chores with a renewed spirit. Each plant he watered, each tool he used, each animal he tended, everything felt meaningful now. Part of a larger story. Humans, he realized, were capable of extraordinary things, not through strength or force, but through kindness, creativity, and courage. As the twin suns set again, Eli stood on the hilltop, the dragon by his side. The horizon shimmered faintly, a reminder that the fleet had moved on but would return. Eli smiled. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and challenges, but he was ready. Humanity had a place, and he had helped show the way. For Eli, the farm was no longer just a home. It was a symbol of possibility, of trust, and of connection across worlds. And as the stars began to shine, faint and distant, he felt a quiet certainty. Humans, no matter how small or ordinary they seemed, could shine brightly in the universe, touching hearts, inspiring allies, and proving that courage and kindness were universal languages. The dragon nudged him gently, and Eli laughed softly. Yes, my friend, he said. We did it together, and we'll do it again, if we must. For humanity, for friendship, and for the stars, and somewhere far above. The alien fleet responded with soft pulses of light, a silent acknowledgement, a promise, and a recognition that Eli Matthews and humanity had earned a place among the stars.